So you want to main Chaac, God of Rain. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Chaac? His abilities are fun and easy to use. He has ton of AoE. He's a great teamfight god. He is mana efficient due to his passive. Cons of Chaac. He falls off late game. Chaac is a Mayan SMITE warrior. SMITE has classified him as average, and I find him easy to average. In this guide, we're going to explore Chaac as a solo, going through his abilities, combos, and attack cancelling, builds, counters, what not to do, and general tips. With that, let's go through his abilities. Chaac's passive, Overflow. After 5 successful basic attacks, the next ability Chaac uses costs no mana and has its cooldown reduced by 2 seconds. This is a great mana efficient passive. When clearing with Chaac, try to basic attack the minion waves 5 times before using your 1 to clear wave. Of course, you might struggle doing this every time, as some other solo laners may have more pressure. Chaac's first ability, Thunderstrike. Chaac's 1 is a ground target. Chaac throws his axe forward, damaging all enemies in radius around its landing location. The axe remains idle in the ground for 5 seconds or until another ability is used. This ability is Chaac's main damage and clear. It also has some other effects linking with his 2 and 3, which we'll go into when going through his 2 and 3. Chaac's second ability, Torrent. Chaac's 2 is an AoE and dash type. Chaac spins his axe around him, damaging all enemies in radius. He gains protections for each enemy hit at maximum of 5 stacks. Now we're going to explain how this works with his first ability. If his axe is out from his first ability, using his second ability will have him dash to the axe's location. He will do 50% base damage to enemies he passes through and then executing his spin attack. This dash attack can go through walls. This linked ability is his main escape. If trying to escape with this ability, try to throw it as far as possible from you or even over walls. Enemies will be forced to either go to the axe's location or stick on you, as they don't know if you will dash or not. So a quick summary, using his 2 without his first ability causes him to spin around and damage enemies. Using his 2 with his first ability out causes him to dash to where the axe is placed. Chaac's third ability, Rain Dance. Chaac's 3 is an aura ability. Chaac summons a rainstorm around his current location for 6 seconds. While it rains, he regains health and enemies around him will have their movement speed and attack speed reduced. This ability is great for sustain as it heals you. When boxing or chasing an enemy, use this ability when you're in radius of them, as it will slow down their movement speed, making it very hard for them to escape. When escaping from an enemy, especially melee guards, the 3 will help you out by slowing them down a bit behind you. Now I'm going to explain how this links with his first ability. If his axe is out from his 1, a huge rainstorm will also spawn at the location of the axe. In this rainstorm, enemies will also have their attack speed and movement speed reduced. This is great for team fights especially. Feel free to throw your axe in the middle of the battlefield followed up with your 3. A quick basic summary, using his 3 without his 1 heals him and causes a mini storm around him where enemies will be slowed in both movement speed and attack speed. Using his 3 with his 1 will spawn a huge rainstorm in the axe's location. Enemies in that area will have reduced movement and attack speed as well. Ultimate, Stormcall. Chaac's ultimate is an area type. Chaac charges his lightning axe and unleashes a blast. This silences, knocks up, and damages all enemies around him. While in the air, Chaac has 50% damage mitigation and is immune to crowd control effects. This ability is great to use in teamfights, a really nice setup. Try to use it in teamfights as much as you can. For the first 5 levels, at level 1 his 1, at level 2 his 2, at level 3 his 3, at level 4 his 1, at level 5 his ultimate. For leveling priority, I would go 1 for damage and poke, 3 for more sustain, increased slow and attack speed reduction, 2 for more damage and protections, 4 for more damage. So basically 1, 3, 2, 4. Attack cancelling for Chaac. You can do these well with 2 of his abilities. Attack cancelling allows for some extra basic attack damage by shortening the animation, or it can sometimes give you an additional basic attack. Here's how to do it with his second ability. Second ability on instant cast, hold down basic and use his 2 as soon as you see the damage number pop up. Here's how to do it with his third ability. Third ability on instant cast, hold down basic and use his 3 as soon as you see the damage number pop up. Attack cancelling is up to your preference. Some people don't bother with it, some people like to do it. Combos for Chaac. Between and after some of your combos, you want to make use of Chaac's basic attacks. Most of these combos are extremely good for teamfights. With Chaac, it's best to try and get as many enemies hit with your abilities, as Chaac is basically all AoE, making him great for teamfights. These combos also work with Blink. For short combos, 1, 2, basics, 3, basics, 1, 1, basics 3. Medium combos 1 and 3. This is a setup combo for team fights. 1, 2, 4. 4, 1, 3. 4, 1, 2. Builds for Chaac. Solo is always dependent on the enemy team and who you're up against in solo. He does well with CDR and defense. A core you could go with Warrior's Blessing, Warrior's Tabi, and then choose Breastplate of Valor or Gladiator's Shield, or if you're up against Magical, Genji's Guard. Other items worth mentioning are Mystical Mail as Chaac sticks onto enemies, the extra damage is nice, Hide of Nemean Lion, Masamune for more power and some protections, Midgardian Mail. Counters against Chaac. Chaac's ultimate is countered by Beads and Magi's Cloak. Anti-heal counters his third ability. Games that drag on, Chaac is not that great late game. This can be a counter if the enemy team has a stronger late game presence. Osiris counters Chaac pretty hard, and you're most likely going to go against him as he's present in solo conquest right now. Osiris has damage reduction, slow, and anti-heal in his kit. What not to do as Chaac. Do not engage without your allies knowing. You have a great setup, so you want your team to be ready for it. Do not hold your abilities back in team fights. Do not use your 1 and 3 linking when trying to escape. It's better to use your 1 and 2 linked and then your 3 once you're out. Tips for Chaac. Use your 3 when chasing enemies. Remember, it slows them down. Using your 1 on enemies in melee range is much easier than using your 1 from a distance. Hitting your basics 5 times on an enemy will give you no mana cost on the next ability. This saves you mana and it also lowers your cooldown. A nice relic on Chaac is Sprint. You can also get Blink depending on your playstyle. Blink makes it easy to go in there with your ultimate if your abilities are down. Try and hit the enemy with your 1 when clearing. Most of the time the enemy would be in range with the minions as your 1 is a pretty big AoE. He has short cooldowns, don't hold back his abilities. I would like to let you guys know that I'll be making other content outside of SMITE and your support would be very helpful to me. Don't worry, I'll still be making plenty of SMITE content and guides. A huge thank you to Azura Justice for bringing you guys this Chaac guide. If you'd like to request a god guide or simply just support me, there is a Ko-fi link where you can donate in the description below. I hope you guys found this very helpful. I'll be making a guide for every god. Any likes and comments would be super rad. I hope to see you for the next one. Bye!